All right, well, I wasn't planning on making any more videos on this channel, um, but something happened to me last month. I ended up developing two rare hearing disorders. One's called Diplacusis and the other's called Hyperacusis. Diplacusis is double hearing, and Hyperacusis is sound sensitivity. Not a lot is known about like what causes these disorders or disabilities or whatever. They're really hard to get diagnosed officially, and there really doesn't seem to be any kind of effective treatment for it right now. And to be honest, they kind of make you sound like a crazy person. But I know I'm not crazy, and because I have had these and still have one of the lingering effects. Um, but yeah, I'll just go into it and tell you what happened. Um, so last month I was laying down some guitar tracks in front of my computer, like I do, and everything went fine. So I saved, closed out Reaper, went about the rest of my day, and everything was great. And then I woke up the next morning, and I put on some music, and like it seemed like the bass was turned like way up, and uh, it almost sounded like it was coming through a wall at the same time. So I didn't panic because I've actually experienced this a few times before, since like the beginning of 2022. And always like after I've been mixing or recording, I figured, hey, my ears are just tired. I'll keep the volume down for a few days. I'll put my music projects on hold, and it'll be fine. And that's the way it was. It was fine every other time after a few days. This time it was a lot different, though, way different. What had happened is a couple days later, I'm at work. I'm in the men's room about to wash my hands, and this crappy pop song comes on, one that I've heard a million times before. But it sounded weird. It was like detuned. And if you ever had a Walkman that had like low batteries, that kind of sound, but obviously not slower. Or if somebody used an app or a DAW to alter the pitch of the song. So I thought that was weird, and then I just went back to work. And then the following day, I noticed a few more songs were doing this. And then I also noticed that a few people sounded robotic. And then I realized what was going on. I was actually hearing two tones. I was hearing the normal pitch and then a pitch right underneath it, like probably like a half step lower or something for you music people out there. Um, and it wasn't across all frequencies. Like not everybody sounded like it, but it was freaking bizarre. And then a couple days later is when stuff really got out of hand. So I lost almost all of my low end. 95% of the people I encountered sounded like robots. A lot of music just sounded off and awful. Um, and then I actually got hyperacusis on top of it. So a lot of sounds and frequencies just became like unbearably loud, almost to the point where I had to leave work because it was just out of hand. Um, and at the time, I was working back in the dairy department, and we've got like all the refrigeration units, all just completely surrounding us. So all those motors were a big sound that I was having trouble with, even getting in my car, listening to that, and then going home and hearing the air conditioner and the refrigerator, and it's freaking 90 degrees out, so I cannot turn the air conditioner off, but it just creates this like unbearable like woo that I had to deal with. And I didn't wear earplugs at the time because I had read that that can actually be worse. But since then, I've read up more on it, and it looks like I can. I just have to not do it all the time. Um, but yeah, like even stuff like going to the bathroom in the morning, like not trying to be gross or anything, but like the sound of the liquid hitting the bowl like would reverberate in the bowl, and then all those sound waves like would go up, and I could like feel them entering my ear. Uh, not cool. Not pleasant at all. See what I mean? It makes you sound like a crazy person, but this is actually what's happening. Um, so I went to the doctor because I'm really freaked out, and he checked for like earwax blockage, and he didn't find anything. and he thought that it was like some kind of infection that somehow got into my ears. And he said, if it doesn't improve or if it worsens within 2 weeks, to come back. And then he also had me get some deep rocks to clear out any earwax that he couldn't find. So I used that, and it actually seemed to be getting better, but I don't think it was the deep rocks. I think it was just my ears trying to heal themselves, because like nothing ever came out, because that's supposed to like make the earwax like come out. Gross, I know. Um, but yeah, nothing came out. So like 6 days later, I'm like, I got, I still can't hear bass, but like stuff sounds a lot more normal. I'm not doing with the robotic voices anymore. Music sounds the way it should. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'll throw on some my earbuds at the laundromat and work on some music. And that was a big mistake, because all that progress I had made just like almost totally killed it, and I was back to the land of the robots again. So I took it easy for another week, kept the volume down and everything, didn't use earbuds or headphones at all. And then a week later, I'm feeling better again. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try it again. Maybe last time I misjudged it. But no, same thing again. It like just totally killed all my progress. So sorry about that. So I waited like another week, and things gradually became better. After like a total of like 3.5 to 4 weeks, I could finally start to hear low frequencies again. So like, music started to sound good again. It's not all the way back. I can still tell that like when certain songs come on and they have a solo bass part, it's like I don't remember it being that quiet in the mix. So of course I turn it up, and then when the band kicks in, it's really freaking super loud, and I can start feeling that shit or that stuff in my ears. I'm trying not to swear here. I can start feeling the sound waves in my ear, and I have to immediately turn it down, because I don't want to have another setback, because I had three of them. I had two when I tried to use the earbuds, and then I had another one at work when I was in the dairy cooler, and I forgot that that is a really, really super echoey room, and echoes really, really, I can't do echoes right now. Um, and I dropped like a really heavy wooden pallet on the ground, and boom, and I could feel it immediately. Oh crap! And yeah, sure enough, for 3 days I was, my ear felt like kind of full. It actually feels full again. So not like earwax full, but it feels weird. Um, but yeah, the Diplacusis eventually went away. So I'm hearing stuff as it should normally be. Like I said, my low end is kind of a little lower than it should be, but everything sounds good. Um, Hyperacusis, however, is sticking around. It's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago, but there's still certain sounds that I just cannot deal with. Um, we have a lot of box carts that come through our section, and they go back to the cardboard compactor, and it's not so bad at first, but at the end of the day, like all that noise accumulates, and I feel it. And other things like using the scan gun at work. Um, Actually, this is really funny. So a couple of days ago, I was in the frozen department, and one of my coworkers is like 50 feet away ordering dairy in the cooler. He's got the cooler door open. The glass is between him and the scan gun, and me 50 feet away. And he scanned something, and it felt like it was right there. It's like, how does that even work? Um, I'm trying to stay positive about this. I am smiling a little bit, because it sounds ridiculous, but I have to deal with this now. And with there not being any real cures for it, like these are both things that I might have to deal with for the rest of my life. And I've watched a lot of videos. I've watched a lot of, or read a lot of content online about it. Trying to learn what to do, what not to do. Um, if there's any way I can get rid of these. And there are some success stories where like it's a really small small percentage of people who have this, but where they haven't had any problems for like 2 years. So hopefully I'm one of those people. I'm just glad that because some people with hyperacusis, they have pain, the pain version. I have the loudness version, so like things are just unbearably loud. But some people actually feel physical pain in their ears from it. So I'm glad I'm not one of those. I hope it never progresses to that state. Um, what else? I I've also noticed that like my directional hearing is kind of out of whack. Like the thing I told you with the scan gun, you know, that was like 50 feet away and it was like way over there, but it sounded like it was right here. Um, Yesterday I went to take out the garbage and there was a park behind me and there were kids playing at the park, but it sounded like the kids were in front of me, but there was nobody there. So once again, I sound like a freaking crazy person. Um, uh, yeah, but yeah, this you know, I want to continue making music, but at the same time, I can't totally trust my ears, and I'm not sure if I can wear headphones. I've seen some people say that you can, but just keep it at really, really low volumes. Take lots of breaks. So I might try that. The one thing that's going to be really tricky is I can't deal with like loud music right now, and like even listening to music. At the max, I can do like 75% of my normal volume, but usually it's more like 50% or lower, because I just start feeling that stuff, and it's not good. Um, and you know, I don't want to damage my ears any further than they've been. And the one hard part with that is recording guitar, because I have to hear over the backing track. I'm not going to use a click track anymore because I think that might have attributed to my conditions in a little way, because I had to turn the click track way up and it's like really piercing when it gets that high. And I know I couldn't deal with that right now. Um, but yeah, I have to turn the backing track way up so I can hear my guitar that I'm, you know, trying to lay down. And that would be at a level that's too high for me. So I have to figure out how to do that, because I really still want to make music. Um, if it comes down to it, I'd be fine with quitting, you know, making music altogether. It would suck, but the main thing is I want to be able to hear, you know, I want to be able to hear the music I love. I want to be able to hear people talking. Um, you know, so I want to protect my ears as much as possible. Uh, where are they? Oh, they're in the glove box. But I've got like some emergency earplugs I keep in the car just in case I find myself in a situation where I can't control my environment. Um, because you know I'm at home, I can keep the volume down on things. I can do what I can to stay quiet. But you know when I'm out and about, I can't control everything. What if there's like 7 fire trucks that suddenly need to go by? You know, and I those sirens would probably kill me right now. Um, yeah, but I think it's what causes is just years of headphone abuse. Ever since I was like 16, and you know I started getting into metal, I always had a Walkman or a Discman, or you know, well, I never had an iPod. I had a PSP that I used as my MP3 player, and then a phone. And you know, for a good 15 years, I had that stuff super loud, like so loud that people would often ask me to turn it down. And that's a long time to be blasting music in your ears. And even though I couldn't tell there's damage, I'm pretty sure there's damage from that. Like I said, I wonder too if it's the click track thing might have attributed to it, or even mixing in general, because when you're mixing, you're supposed to take breaks every like, I don't know, like 5 minutes every hour, 10 minutes every hour or something. A lot of times I don't do that. I'll sit there for 4 hours, like listening to the same track over and over again, like moving this part here and moving this part there and adjusting the EQ and, you know, all that stuff. Um, that probably contributed to it as well. Um, I actually started noticing problems like shortly after I started recording my own music in 2019. Um, I noticed my like normal listening headphones, they suddenly sounded muddy and like the bass got jacked way up, but they sounded just fine before that. So it's probably some damage done already. Um, and then I noticed like my studio monitors, some days they would just sound perfect. And then some days it sound like super muddy. So I try to like, there's a knob on the back for bass cut and a treble cut. So I tried to cut the bass, and no matter how much I would do it, it didn't make a difference. And then earlier this year, I noticed that my TV, I went to turn it on, and all the voices, it had that muddy like through the wall sound and like super loud. And again, it only had a bass and a treble adjustment, and I tried to cut the bass down. It did nothing. So I actually think it's more of a lower mid frequency thing that is giving me trouble, which I think a lot of metal sits in, honestly. Which explains why, like after this occurred, like a lot of metal just sounded like boom, 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 boom for like a good 3 weeks. Um, yeah, but I actually thought it was my TV at first because it's an old TV. It's like 16 years old. Um, but then I went to the laundromat a couple weeks later, and they had a TV set up, and it sounded the same way. And I'm like, what the hell? Because everything else sounded normal. I'm like, I don't get it. Um, yeah, but people are starting to park around here, make noise with their little motorbikes. Damn kids. But yeah, these are things I'm going to have to deal with now. Hopefully, some progress can be made in the diagnosis and cure of these conditions, because it's not fun. The Diplacusis I can kind of live with, like double hearing. I don't know. It sucks, but it's kind of cool in a way because I don't know. It just sounds weird. I know. I'm mental. I'm not crazy. Um, the Hyperacusis though, like being sensitive to sounds really really sucks. Like even last night, I was trying to lay down and go to sleep, and I'm sure they weren't being loud upstairs, but like they like thumped on the floor, and like I could just feel it, and I just could not get to sleep because I just felt that boom, boom. Um, yeah, so it's not cool. Like it has gotten a lot better, but it's I've been dealing with the hyperacusis for a good month now, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go away. Like every time I think it's going away, it comes back. So I think these are things I'm just going to have to deal with, and yeah, that's about it. I just want to make a quick video. Hopefully, I can have a good update in the future. I need to see an audiologist, make sure I don't have like tinnitus or anything like that, because those are actually linked to these two disorders. So, but I don't have any ringing or rustling or anything like that. I think I just have hearing loss, and that that's related as well. But yeah, that's it. So trying to stay positive, and talk to you guys later.